This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
I talk a lot about the dummies in the Republican Party, and there's an odd anti-intellectual streak that rings through the Republican Party. It's very prevalent. I mean, we all witnessed Donald Trump listing through the different demographics that he won. I think it was the Nevada caucuses. He's like, oh, and we won with the poorly educated. We love the poorly educated. And I say that not to denigrate the poorly educated or the uneducated. And it's not to say that if you don't have higher education that you're not smart or not savvy. Not that at all. The anti-intellectual thing that runs through the Republican Party is anti-curiosity. And that's really the indictment. That's the problem with it. They are intellectually incurious about the world around them, and more specifically, how to solve the problems that we face in our country. And chief among them, is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who not only is stupid, but doesn't maybe really know just how stupid she is. She has said all kinds of insane things. She had to actually apologize for her lack of understanding of what really took place during the Holocaust. She has postured that Jews, scary Jews, have laser beams stationed in space to fire down upon the earth and create forest fires. To what end? Who knows? She rails against vaccines. She thinks that wearing masks don't work, even though surgeons wear masks. I mean, it's just nonsense. She speaks at white nationalist conferences with avowed Holocaust-denying racists like Nick Fuentes. I could go on and on and on and on. But I'm going to play a clip here where she's talking about Christian nationalism, which is without a doubt absolutely a threat, an existential one to our country. And here she is promoting the virtues of Christian nationalism. In her case, she means white Christian nationalism. We're going to play the clip, and then we're going to talk about it on the other side. Ugh, buckle up. It's a lot.
If Christian nationalism is something to be scared of, they're lying to you. And they're lying to you on purpose, because that is exactly the temperature change that is happening in America today, and they can't control it. They can't control it, and that's what terrifies them the most. You see, if we're going to label it Christian nationalism, this movement will actually be the movement that stops the school shootings. This will be the movement that stops the crime in our streets. This will be the movement that stops the sexual immorality and teaches children and brings them up in traditional families and loving homes. This will be the movement that protects kids' innocence and nurtures them into responsible adults that grow up to be successful moms and dads wanting to pursue a family of their own. This will be the movement that finally does something about our debt, because it's something that all of us should be ashamed of. It should have never happened. This will be the movement that cares about broken and lost communities that are always forgotten about. Christians should never forget about those people, and we don't. So while the media is going to lie about you and label Christian nationalism, and they're probably going to call it domestic terrorism, I'm going to tell you right now, they're the liars. And if anybody's a domestic terrorist, it's the radical left. They're the domestic terrorist. We could even say the Democrats are the domestic terrorists, because they funded them and they burned down our city streets and rioted in 2020. So if we're going to put labels on people, we should put labels where they appropriately belong, not on Christians and not on people who love their country and want to take care of it.
So, Peachtree Dish, Gazpacho, Marjorie Taylor Greene there, hosting her little program, MTG Live. First, let's define Christian nationalism. What exactly is this term that she is so afraid is going to start getting the attention that it does deserve? This is from the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty. This is a religious liberty organization. What is Christian nationalism? Christian nationalism is a cultural framework that idealizes and advocates a fusion of Christianity with American civic life. Christian nationalism contends that America has been and should always be distinctively Christian from top to bottom in its self-identity, interpretations of its own history, sacred symbols, cherished values, and public policies, and it aims to keep it that way. But the Christian in Christian nationalism is more about identity than religion. It carries with it assumptions about nativism, white supremacy, authoritarianism, patriarchy, and militarism. That is a very succinct and apt definition of Christian nationalism. From a religious liberty organization, the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty. Now, so Christian nationalists want a Christian nation. They believe that Christianity should control what laws are governing us. Even though in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, there is a prohibition about founding a government-sponsored religion or the government taking a stake with one faith over another. How, pray tell, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is Christian nationalism going to stop school shootings? Because up to this point, all of the Christian nationalist thoughts and prayers have gone unanswered. Nothing has been done from a religious standpoint to even diminish the number that we face. How are they going to protect kids' innocence, as you so boldly claim, when you can't even protect them in their classroom? All of the sexual impropriety and immorality that goes on within Christendom that victimizes, targets and victimizes children and women and the innocent. Religion is not an answer for that, especially where it relates to the running of our government, our self-governance. How is Christian nationalism going to solve our debt, the national debt, when your guy, Donald Trump, who promised he would pay off the entirety of our, at the time, I think, $20 trillion debt in 8 years. Instead, he added to the debt. He added $1.5 trillion worth of debt to our national debt because of tax cuts for the rich, which flies in the face of the words of Jesus, who advocated for the poor, not for the rich. He flipped over tables in the temple, screaming and yelling. It was maybe the most violent episode in the Bible related to Jesus at his hands, calling the money changers vipers. But you act like your team is all about lowering the debt. It's a bunch of lip flapping is what it is. Christian nationalism is an existential crisis in America. One, because it is in direct odds with our Constitution and our governing documents. Two, because it's not just Christian nationalism. It is absolutely, especially from the mouth of Marjorie Taylor Greene, white Christian nationalism. And if we are to have some religious test in America, whose version of Christianity? Marjorie? Whose version is going to be the one to rule all of us? Is the one to write policy that will govern over Muslims and Jews and non-believers, other faiths that are a minority faith in this country? It is gross and it's stupid. it is dum-dum time in America in the Republican Party. On full display, proudly on full display. I'd love to know what you think about this. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Follow me on social media. We can mix it up there. I am at Dollemore, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of those. I'd love to see you. And if I bring you value, please consider supporting my work, helping produce what I do, taking part in the mission here. You can click the join button below this video, become a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month, or you can click on over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are great ways to help support what I do here on YouTube. That's not just for the podcast. It absolutely helps here. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. Let's talk about this. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.